Coming up this time on This Is True Really News.
We shall not call a queen a crumpet.
And the greatest personal injury case you've ever heard of.
I think I'll be the judge of that, but go on.
Oh, you will. Please like, subscribe, and follow This Is True Really News because we like you.
Pathetic. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, pathetic.
No, because we'd like you to. That makes it sound more level.
We'd like you to think we're not pathetic, but
not quite as needy as we are.
Right, exactly. And if you find a story you think we'd get a kick out of, send it to, please, TITR@netradio.network.
Thank you.
This is True Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
So, for those of you who think golf isn't a contact sport, we take you to, you've probably seen this.
They've never golfed with us.
That's true, but mostly the things in danger for us are fish, wildlife, and trees.
Well, and the occasional lens on your glasses.
Once in a while.
Because somebody will lick their fingers and wipe them on you. When
that's never happened as far as I know. In
your backswing. You did it to me.
I did not in your backswing. I could get hit. You nuts?
Yeah, you did it
while you were setting up.
Oh, probably.
So we're at Harbor Hills Golf Course in Lake.
You grabbed
Florida.
my driver.
Don't say that.
Sir, you fondled my driver.
There can be no place good to go here, so let's go back to, so you always thought golf was a non-contact sport, did you? Harbor Hills Golf Course, Lake County, Florida. 52-year-old Eddie Orobit was arrested and charged with a felony of aggravated battery after he smashed Joseph Sivak in the face and body over a golf course etiquette.
What did he hit him with?
Let the irony just sink in.
Right? We'll go right from civil to criminal charges.
So he was
over golf course etiquette.
He who was aggravatedly battered.
Yeah.
Civic and his wife were taking a walk on a golf course. It happens on golf courses because it's a nice place to walk.
I've seen
if you don't have a damn white ball that has you.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're walking. According to Civic,
balls can screw up a good walk.
Now, according to Civic, Orobit, I don't know how to say his last name. Orobitg. I'm just going to go with Orobit. Orbig. The dentist started screaming at them. He was playing golf with his son.
Okay.
He's screaming too, but for other reasons. Orbig's issue with Civic was where he was walking on the golf course. He told Civic that he was not supposed to be walking along the cart path as it was reserved for those using golf carts. Uh-oh. Eddie, old buddy, take another drink of a adult beverage and you'll be fine. Civic told Fox 35, we heard someone screaming, swearing at us, coming up really fast behind us. According to the report filed at the scene, the two men engaged in a bit of an argument. That's a discussion that gets loud. When Orbitig spat in Civic's face and then began to beat him with his hands and a golf club. They didn't give the signal, so we don't know if it was like the 7-iron.
Civic thing is, but hold on, I'm confused over whose hands were being used.
I'm guessing his.
That's what confused me.
Okay. Spat in his face and began to beat him with his hands and a golf club. Oh, you mean like when you're kids and you're...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you hit yourself? Why you hit yourself?
Civic told police he finally tried to defend himself with his water bottle. When they
good choice.
That, yeah. Now, if it was an old-fashioned thermos, you got a shot.
You're right.
When the proper authorities... Did you... One of my favorite scenes from The Accountant. When the proper authorities arrived, Civic was covered in blood and could not make a verbal statement after the beating. Wow. He said, I nearly died. That's the thing that scared me. Okay, I don't think you died, but you were bleeding heavily, so that can be scary.
Yeah.
Lieutenant John Harrell said, had he been struck just in the right place, it could have been much, much worse. Orbitig, by the way, the dentist, his advertising slogan is his light touch with patience. So we're going to go on the theory that Civic was not a patient, since he suffered broken ribs, a fractured cheekbone, a ripped earlobe, and several bruises and cuts.
Oh, my Lord.
This was a full-on assault.
The guy was on the cart path. That's not going to cause you any trouble at all.
No, it shouldn't unless you hit like us.
Right. Well, I've hit the cart path a lot.
Sometimes, and like once out of every 4 times I do, it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, because it just goes skipping down.
I had like a 380-yard drive on a hole.
along the cart path.
The cart path just was perfect. It hit it. You saw the big bounce about 200 or so yards down.
Yeah.
Saw another big bounce. Then you saw a huge bounce that kicked it toward the fairway. It's like, thank you, God.
This is whatever gods there are of golf.
I'm like 10 yards off the green, laying 2 on a par 4, boys.
Did you have to light a cigarette? Was it?
I got a par. From 10 yards off, it still took me 3 strokes to get there. I had 2 cigarettes.
There you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a moment. You got to consider this. This next story is not for kids.
Okay, I'm leaving.
No, you stay right there.
I have a childlike innocence.
No.
Oh, come on. I said it without laughing. That should be worth something.
It is. You get a quarter point. So 0.25 points to Tony for
something.
In any case, this next story contains it's a very adult theme, and I'm fine with it around adults. You got to decide whether you want kids hearing it. And
I don't want me hearing it then.
Think 50 Shades of Grey.
I don't want me hearing it then.
So an attorney has picked up a client who's suing a sex toy company. That ought to be effective, sticking your fingers on your headphones.
Not as much as you'd think.
Said client purchased a butt plug that was advertised as 100% silicone. Well, that's no big deal, right? I mean, people do as they do, as I'm told.
Go on with it.
Client wears butt plug to MRI appointment.
Mistake. Oh, no.
Was
there any metal? Because the ripping and tearing would be epic.
It was advertised as 100% silicone.
MRI.
Much to everyone's dismay,
it wasn't.
Butt plug, in fact, has a metal core. MRI goes on. Butt plug accelerates at the speed of sound into the client's chest cavity.
So it's traveling north along I-35.
Are you ready? Described in a memo from the doc as an anal railgun.
You realize somebody used one of those to almost destroy the Earth from the Justice League's watchtower.
An anal railgun?
No, a railgun. They didn't do the anal part.
I was going to say.
That would be bad.
We took out the Earth with a giant butt plug.
I don't think I can hear any more of this.
The client survived.
No, I mean, I can't. I'm going into shock. Thanks.
With major injuries.
There you go. But think of the money he's going to get in the lawsuit.
Yeah, right. Or the money you might lose because, no, because they're supposed to wand them. They're supposed to actually wand them to find out if there's any metal anywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've got the titanium snap up here for my Baja thing.
Yep. What do they have to do with that?
Nothing. It's titanium. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
He's not magnetic. You can't stick metal to me.
Boy, that would suck for you. They say that,
no, because they've checked inside and they didn't find anything, so we're okay.
With all the colors in tattoos and now some metallic looks and so on, if you've got metal in your tattoo ink,
no MRI for you.
Apparently it burns.
No MRI for you.
Right? Over to you.
For what?
Take it, Tone.
I got a cool dog story from Michelle and from this. Bring the kids back in. They'll enjoy this.
Well, give the dog a butt plug and we'll just dovetail the stories together.
I hate you. Your family, your neighbors, all of your friends, anyone who's ever met you, including me. A 28-year-old driver found himself in the doghouse after he attempted to switch places with his canine when he got pulled over on a suspicion of DUI Saturday in southeastern Colorado.
So he was that drunk.
Springfield, Colorado, as a matter of fact, Police Chief Clay Clipful conducted the traffic stop on a driver who was clipping along at 52 in a 30.
Ooh.
On a Saturday night. What, do you think no one would notice?
Especially the cops on a Saturday night.
So the driver, being obviously some sort of genius,
we think,
attempted to switch places with his dog. The dog was sitting in the passenger seat of the Dodge Challenger, in a process that Clipful watched in its entirety as he walked toward the car. The suspect, who had, here's a shock, clear signs of intoxication. Got out of the passenger side of the car and told the chief that he wasn't the one driving.
Oh, I love this.
When Clipwell asked whether he'd been drinking, the man, of course, did the logical thing and tried to run away. I would pay for body cam footage of any of this. The suspect's getaway attempt was cut short about 20 yards from the car when he was apprehended.
Because he wasn't so much running as stumbling.
You know, when you're drunk, you think you're running. Mostly you're just slowly falling is what you're doing. There were a man and a woman in the back seat of the Challenger. That had to be cramped. Now I'm getting bad thoughts from your story. Anyway, the car belonged to the woman, Clipwell said. And they later found out that the three were driving from Los Animas to Pueblo.
Okay.
And got lost in Springfield. For the record, Springfield is just southeast of Los Animas. Pueblo is to the west.
This sounds like Bergie's first trip to a party at the U of M.
Trying to figure out if any of these people should be allowed to procreate. The driver was later found to have 2 active warrants out of Pueblo, according to the Springfield police. One was poor map reading. Well, that wasn't even that's just... My wife would have slapped him with a tree trunk. He was medically cleared at a hospital and then booked into the county jail for his warrants and on the suspicion of driving under the influence, driving while ability impaired, driving under suspension, not to mention speeding and, well, you call that resisting arrest. The 2 other occupants took the pup and tried to get to Pueblo. I don't really know if they did. If anyone knows if they actually got there. Because that would be something. So she writes, so did Shadow ever drive you around in the car? And I had to be honest. I said, no, he wanted to. But I explained to him, you can't even get your permit until you're 15. So stop it.
You remember Bergie's story about that, Bob Berglund? From WLOL days?
No. But these were the old days where you didn't have...
He came down from...
Google Maps.
What, War Road?
Or what's the other... I don't know.
Or near north. War Road, way up north. He comes down to go to school at the...
When you're coming from War Road, you go, it's near... You go with what it's near. War Road is near...
Something. So, I don't know. It's way up north.
It's south of Canada.
Yeah, but there we go. Just barely.
It's not... And it's south of International Falls.
So, Bergie comes down here. He gets invited to a party. Well, he and his buddy pre-gamed the party a little bit.
Well, you got to warm up. You don't want to pull any drinking muscles.
And it was snowing to beat the band. So his buddy says, you know how to get there? And he goes, yeah, they gave me directions. Here, read them to me. Guy reads them. They were driving around for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it.
Nope.
Finally, hey, there's a cop up there. Let's ask him. Bergie goes up to the car. No, his buddy gets out of the car, goes up. Comes back and said, are we anywhere near it? No. Well, where are we? Rochester.
Yeah, you missed it by a little bit.
A couple who built on their neighbor's yard.
Rochester is what, 2 hours south of the cities? Give or take?
Yeah.
It's not interstate either, by the way.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
A couple who built on their neighbor's yard then told them to go to court have been ordered to demolish their 80,000 pound extension and handed another 200,000 pounds in legal bills. Shabazz Ashraf, 45, and his wife Shakira, 40, were told by a judge to tear apart the extension to their 700,000 pound London home.
Huh?
Because, they have a 700,000 pound home.
And now they're going to basically dismantle the thing board by board.
Well, part of it.
Okay.
Part of it.
Only
the $80,000 extension.
Well, then,
yeah,
pish and posh.
The couple estimate they spent $80,000 ripping down a 1970s extension in the back of their house in Ridgeway Gardens.
So they put it up for 80, and now they tore it down for 80. Okay.
Replacing it with a modern one, only to have the couple next door, former friends Avtar Dinjan and his wife Balvinder, complain that it was millimeters over the boundary between their properties. Mr. and Mrs.
2 things I don't understand.
Yes.
Picky ass neighbors and how families treat each other when someone dies and there's an inheritance. I didn't understand either of those. Carry on.
Mr. and Mrs. Dinjan backed by their son Gurpreet, said the new extension strayed 68 millimeters or 2.68 inches into their land with
like this much.
Yeah, with like an overhang at roof level of 98 millimeters or 3.86 inches, the wrong side of the line.
They would be putting a damn shadow on my lawn.
Mr. Dinjan, a former Ford car plant worker, said his neighbors intended to annoy him and his family by building over the boundary between their homes in 2019. They sued at Central London County Court, demanding an injunction forcing the Ashrafs to demolish the encroaching wall. Now, Judge Richard Roberts has granted them a victory, slamming their high-handed neighbors for trespassing and ordering them to knock down the wall and move it back.
Mr. Neighbor,
tear down
that wall.
Wow, I didn't think Ronald Reagan would come in this handy.
You know, he was useful. I mean, the left went apoplectic and wrote songs, and we can use his quotes later.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Works for me.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.